You must eat, Padawan.
I'm not hungry.
It's unwise to insult a Wookiee's cooking.
In this penultimate episode of the season, we finally learn what happened to the twins and their extended family when they were young. Was it May who caused the whole coven to die, or were the Jedi overstepping their boundaries? Or was something else or someone else behind it? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me to find out. This episode brings us back to Brandok, to 16 years ago, where this time we see the events unfold from the Jedi perspective. Indara, her Padawan Torben, Karnaka and Sol were sent there to investigate a strange occurrence.
100 years ago, this planet was catalogued as lifeless. Yet this planet, Brandok, is thriving.
But after 7 weeks of finding nothing, Torben becomes annoyed with the mission.
So there's some plants here. Big deal.
Calm yourself, Padawan.
We are looking for a virgins.
What's a virgins?
A virgins is a concentration of force energy centered around a location, which would explain the planet's thriving. We also learn that Sol is not considered to be experienced enough yet to become a teacher himself.
You disagree. That's why I have a Padawan and you do not.
Soon after, Sol discovers the twins and follows them, misreading their teaching lessons as them being mistreated. And learning that the Ascension ceremony is about to happen that night, Sol believes they are in immediate danger and insists on visiting the coven, even though Indara wanted to consult the council first. They then interrupt the ceremony as previously seen, where Indara asks for the girls to be tested and where Mother Anisaya briefly possesses Torben's mind. Next day, May describes the Ascension in a very unfortunate way.
Mama said everyone must walk through fear. Everyone must be sacrificed to fulfill their destiny.
Adding to Sol's perception of the twins being in peril. After Osha passed the test, Sol wants to take the girls, but
The council said no.
this is when the blood sample analysis reveals that the girls are not just twins, but completely identical.
The twins were artificially created?
Maybe by tapping into a power dense enough to split one consciousness into two bodies?
Which leads them to conclude that only a virgins can create the needed amount of power to achieve that. For Torben, who is still traumatized by the psychic intrusion, this is the straw that breaks the camel's back.
We just need proof of a virgins, and those girls are the proof. This is our ticket home.
Stop him!
However, after Sol catches up with him, he joins Torben and both go rogue. Meanwhile, May is egged on by her other mother.
You want to stop Osha from leaving? Then stop her.
Who also mobilizes the coven.
Witches, arm yourselves!
Without their leader's knowledge though.
What is happening? The Jedi have breached the fortress again.
At the same time, May burns Osha's book, which sets off a fire. Looking for help to stop the fire, she interrupts the standoff between her mothers and the Jedi, where Torben's temper escalates the situation. And Sol, misreading her intentions as something endangering the kids, kills Mother Anisaya in front of May's eyes. Mama! Trying to stop the other Jedi from doing even more harm, Indara drops Karnaka from their ship, but the Wookiee then gets possessed by the Coven and is forced to fight Torben and Sol. After a lengthy fight, Indara joins the scene and using the Force she pushes the Coven members out of Karnaka's mind, unaware that this action would result in the witches dying. Sol then goes after the twins, but he is not strong enough to save both, so he lets go of May to rescue Osha. On their way to Coruscant, even Indara loses her cool after Torben and Sol caused such a disaster. Though he is willing to take responsibility, Indara instructs Sol otherwise, as Osha always wanted to be a Jedi.
After everything this little girl has lost tonight, you take away her dream as well?
The truth wouldn't make a difference, as everyone is dead. Or so they thought. Okay, we learned a lot in this chapter, therefore my synopsis was quite extensive. I will try to keep the rest short now. First off, I wasn't surprised that they returned to the past in this episode. It was about time, but also it was directed by the same person directing episode 3, where we had the first flashback. It also stuck with the theme of duality I mentioned before, that is threading through the whole series, not only by showing us the other side of things, using the Jedi point of view after the other one was showing us Osha's perspective, but also by being titled Choice, while the companion episode was titled Destiny. I hope fans are happy with some of the revelations. First off, the secret of a twin's creation was apparently not them being born immaculately, but by one child being divided, or better duplicated, into two. Which, by the way, makes it even weirder that the twin child actors don't really look exactly alike. However, there was no disturbance in the Force when it comes to Anakin being the chosen one, so it turned out that the fan outrage was premature. Sometimes it is worth to wait where a plotline will actually lead, instead of panicking, preemptively fearing where it may go.
So, testing the twins is not something we can take seriously. Osha's too old to join the Order.
They also stayed in canon by saying Osha is too old to be trained, something that was established when even Anakin was considered too old. I guess the tragedy of her being orphaned prompted an exception. It is also good to see that it all was the result of two Jedi breaking protocol and not something sanctioned by the Council, as that would be quite hurtful to the lore, but Jedi being reckless is not unheard of, so it fits in well. It was a shocker though that Sol actually killed Osha's mother, and then played the benevolent master for the next few years. Surely out of guilt, but also pretty convincingly hiding that shameful deed, so that she never even suspected foul play.
What happened?
They started a fire.
Anyway, blaming her thought to be dead sister was not a nice move, soiling her memory and making Osha hate her even in death, even though just a perceived one. I think they did a good job with this episode, nicely filling in the blanks. We still don't know though what happened with May after it all, how she got involved with Kamir and what his role is in it all. I could imagine he was the one conjuring the force needed for the virgins, or at least helped with it. Maybe he turns out to be the biological father, showing why he is so interested in them. As he suggested to be much older than he looks, it could be possible. Even though that reveal would be too much like Vader saying, "I am your father." But that didn't keep the screenwriters from making Rey Palpatine's granddaughter, so... Didn't he try to kill May at one point? Maybe he was the one saving May from her fall, as the survival is still unexplained. Maybe Kamir was behind the fire getting out of control and destroying the whole settlement. Something that seemed odd to me anyway, that big destruction being caused by a small accident. Was that his first time messing with the Jedi, trying to blame them for a catastrophe? Not that they needed that help as it turned out. Or could it even be that he is the one who becomes Darth Plagueis, the legendary master of Darth Sidious, aka Palpatine, a Sith Lord said to be able to cheat death and to create life? Maybe that will be the big reveal? Well, we will find out very soon what Kamir's deal is. I hope the last chapter of the season heavily leans into his backstory. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. I liked this chapter, which was complementing the previous flashback episode very well. We are now caught up with most events and background details needed, so it will be interesting to see where the final installment of the season will lead us. This setup chapter I am rating again with 8 out of 10 points. I just hope they don't end the season on a cliffhanger, as fan reception was not great. For several reasons, some valid, some don't, but that could jeopardize the show being renewed. Especially as we don't know what the streaming numbers were and if those are more important to the House of Mouse than the fan reactions. I hope even more though that the last entry will land as well with me as the first 7 chapters, but I will share my take in my review for the season finale. What about you? What are your theories on May's survival? What do you think is Kamir's deal? Is he connected to Darth Plagueis? Or was it him all along? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching. which would explain the planet's thriving. Instead of panicking, prepare. Maybe he even turns out to be the biological. Maybe he even turns out to be the biological.